Now, first question you might have on your lips is why on earth should I start a budget? Everybody talks about budgets from the beginning of time, it seems, all the way up to now. Everyone and their grandma would recommend that you start a budget. But then it's like, why though, right? Yeah, why though? So here are some reasons why. Before we get into how to make a budget, here are some reasons on why you should even consider budgeting. Reason number one is because budgets are essentially your plan for what you're going to do with your money. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you're not budgeting your money, if you don't have a game plan for what you're going to do with your money, you're already setting yourself up for failure in one way or another because you haven't even decided, here's what I will do with the money I have. Having a budget helps you take back control over your money, okay? Because you're deciding what you're going to do with it if you actually decide to make a budget. You'll be having control over your money because you'll be putting limits on how much money you can spend in any given category. By doing this, a budget can help you reach your financial goals. That could be paying off debt. That could be investing. That could be a savings. Pick something, whatever it is you want to do. Having a budget will help you reach your financial goals. And then on top of that, having a budget will also help you save a lot of mental energy. Okay, our minds only have so much energy that they can spend. Energy isn't infinite. This is why we go to sleep after a while. We get tired after a while because we only have so much energy to work with, and then it's all gone. You want to save as much mental energy as possible, and you do this by having a budget. Because once you have a budget and you've already decided how much money you're going to spend on groceries or gas or transportation or insurance or fund or investments or savings, then you don't really have to think about it every single week or every single month. You just know, okay, we're spending this much on groceries, great. Start buying stuff. Wait, we just hit our limit. Okay, done. We're spending this much on eating out. Okay, great. Go ahead and eat out. Wait, we just hit our limit. Done. And now you don't have to constantly calculate one after another, yada, yada, yada. You can save some mental energy and keep up with your income and your money that way because you've already done all the thinking and you don't have to keep doing it over and over and over. There's other things you can think about. You don't need to think about budgets 24/7. Okay? Another reason why you should have a budget is because it shows you where you stand financially, whether you're safe, like you have enough money for everything you need, or you should be a little bit careful, use caution, because you don't have enough money, or you should be very, very concerned because you're completely out of money. That's another reason why you should have a budget, just to show you where you stand with your money, because you don't want to have any surprises. You don't want to think you have enough money for everything you might need to spend money on, and then come the due dates, you look up and you realize we are like $500 short of the money we need for whatever. You want to make sure you have all the money you need, and having a budget will help show you whether or not you have enough money for all the stuff you need to spend money on. It'll make you more aware of how your money works, right? Either your money is working to cause problems for you or it's working to solve problems for you. If you have Hulu and Netflix and Disney Plus, and you know you have a problem of watching TV all day and binge watching and not getting any work done, then you are paying for that problem, okay? You are asking for it, you're putting your money towards it. Versus if you are paying to get new books to read, to educate yourself, to take online courses, learn new skills that can make more money or help you in shape. Now you're paying for solutions, and you want to know how your money works. Is your money working to cause you problems, or is your money working to bring solutions? Another example is if you go grocery shopping and you buy chips and pizza and a whole bunch of greasy fast food and fat food that's making you blow up. That money, you're spending it and it's causing you problems. That's how it's working. It's making you get fatter, it's making you feel sluggish, it's making you look in the mirror and say, I don't like the way I look. Versus if you had a gym membership that you were actually using and you were buying healthy nutrition, you're buying supplements, and you're getting your protein and your fiber and you're exercising on a regular basis. Now that money is going towards solving a problem. And with a budget, you get to decide, do you want all your money towards solving problems, or do you want all your money going towards causing you problems? The choice is yours, but this is the reason why you should have a budget, because it'll show you how your money is working for you. Either it's causing you problems or it's solving you problems, okay? Cool. And on top of all that, having a budget will help you get one step closer to being a millionaire. Okay, so now let's talk about how to make a budget. What is the process of making a budget? Glad you asked, good question. It comes in a couple of steps. I want to say 3 steps total. Yeah, 3 steps total. So what's step 1? Step 1 is know how much money you have. This is very important. You want to know how much money you're making. You want to know how much money you have in your accounts. Write that down, get that recorded somewhere, okay? Just not that difficult. You wanna know how often you get paid. You wanna know how much you get paid. You wanna know how much you currently have, okay? Step 2, know how much money you need. You figure this out by forecasting your expenses. When you are forecasting your expenses, you are calculating how much money you are gonna need to spend over the next couple of days, weeks, few months, year, whatever. But you're just gonna look ahead and add it all up, calculate how much money you need to spend, okay? Gives you an idea of how much money you need. So for example, if I know rent is due at the first of every month, and it's like the last week of the month, and I know, okay, first of next month is gonna be a solid $1,400 for rent. And I also know I go grocery shopping every weekend, so that's gonna be another $150 to $200 for grocery shopping, okay? So right off the bat, I know we're gonna be spending at least $1,500 to $1,600. Forecasting, looking ahead, right? Okay, next week, here's how much money we have to spend because rent and grocery shopping, whatever. That's how forecasting works, and you want to do this with all of your spending categories. When it comes to forecasting, part 1 is making sure you forecast for all of your spending categories. Every single one of them, you don't want any surprises, whether it's rent or utilities or gas or transportation or electricity or Wi-Fi, groceries, whatever. You want to go through all of your spending categories and figure out how much money you're going to have to spend in each of those spending categories over the next couple of weeks, or over the next couple of months, or really just over the next couple of weeks or over the month, for the most part. You can go as far as the year if you want to. I'll leave that up to you. It's not really my problem. But you just want to know how much money am I going to have to spend over the next couple of, pick a period of time, right? Some examples of some categories that I use, that I make sure I never miss, is I'm always going to be putting 10% towards tithes, and then I'm always going to be putting 10% towards savings for investments. That's something you got to do. There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, where it talks about, and this is a bit of a tangent here, but it talks about how if you want to start making money, you need to learn to live on at least 90% of your income. Take 1/10, that's yours to keep. Okay, so as soon as you get paid, 10% of that goes away for you, and you'll use that later to invest intelligently to make more money down the line. So you don't have to keep hustling day in and day out for the rest of your life. At some point, you want your money to work for you. The only way your money is going to work for you is if you employ some of your money to work for you. Most of us spend most of our money on everything else instead of having our money work for us, which is why we need budgets. You got your tithes, it's going to be 10%. You got investments, that's going to be 10%. If you have any debt, you will need to pick a percentage of your income to put away towards paying off debt. There's a bunch of different ways of paying off debt. I don't care how you do it, but you'll have to spend some money paying off debt. And then if you're anything like me, where I'm not a W-2 employee anymore, I now 1099 because I drive Uber full time, I have to put some money away for taxes as well, because tax season's coming around next year and I'm going to have to pay a tax bill because life in America. The rest of your expenses will be things like groceries, transportation, and housing, and utilities, whatever. And then you're going to want to break all that up. All right, you want to forecast and figure out how much money do I need to put in each one of these categories every single week or every single month. And then when the time comes, make sure you do that. Part 2 of this forecasting process is knowing when you need the money. Okay, there's at least 28 to 31 days in any given month from the year. I mentioned earlier that rent is often due on the 1st. Some other bills can be on the 10th, and then another bill could be on the 16th, and then another one could be on the 24th, or the 25th, or the 28th, or the 30th. You want to know which bill is due on which day, okay? It's good to know that rent is due $1,400, great. When? It's due on the 1st. That'll help you with how you spend your money, okay? So that's part 2 of forecasting, knowing when you'll need the money, okay? How much you have, and then how much you need, that's step 2, and then step 2, part 2, is when you need that money. All right, you with me so far? All right, cool. Step 3 in how to make a budget is basically, it's really simple. It's really simple. You just start doing the math, all right? You know, for example, let's say you know how much money you have, in your account minus how much money you need to spend, and when it's due, when you need to spend that money. And then you just subtract, like, do I have enough money to cover all my bills? Simple, easy, fantastic. If once you're done with all that, you have some money left over, like for example, you have $3,000 by the end of the month, and you only needed to spend $2,500, must be nice. But congratulations, you have $500 left over. You can do whatever you want with that money, that last $500. You can either save it for investing later, you can spend it on whatever you want, you know, girls night out, guys night out. You can invest it to make more money, I'd recommend it. Or you can use that money to pay off some credit card debts, pay off some student loans, pay off some hospital bills, whatever, it's up to you. You get to decide what you'll do with it. That's the beauty of a budget. It's your choice. Your boss doesn't get to tell you how to do it, okay? The government doesn't get to tell you how to do it yet, but it's all your choice. It's up to you to decide what you're going to do with your money. So choose, especially if you have some left over. If you don't have any money left over, like for example, you started off with $3,000, but you also needed $3,000, well then good job. You've covered all of your expenses. You broke even. You've budgeted every single dollar that you have. Good, Dave Ramsey would be proud of you. However, if, for example, you don't have enough money to cover everything. For example, let's say you had $3,000 in your account, but you needed $4,000 to cover all of your expenses. Well, now you're in trouble because now you have an extra $1,000 worth of expenses, but you're lacking an extra $1,000 to cover those expenses. And this is when things get scary, because nobody likes to be in a position where you don't have enough money to cover everything, especially not if you're married and you have kids and you have people looking up to you, and you don't want to be in that position where it's like, what are we gonna do? We need an extra time. And I mean, like, you seriously need an extra $1,000. What do you do? And I just want to say this again, this ain't financial advice. It's not financial advice. Just me sharing what I've learned as I'm learning. You know, it's just me sharing my opinion here. What I would recommend, not financial advice, but what I would recommend is you list out every single spending category by priority. Okay, what's most important for you and your family if you ought to stay alive? You know, stuff like food, housing, place to stay, heat, making sure you're warm. Those, you know, and then you list them out from there. You can go into utilities, entertainment, transportation, whatever. List them all out by priority. And then whichever one is at the bottom, cut that off. Just chop it out. For this month, we just can't do it. We just can't touch it. We can't, because we only have $3,000. We need $4,000, and we only have $3,000. So something has to go, unless you can find a way to make an extra $1,000. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Something has to go. So list everything out by priority. Say whatever's least important has to go, because you're gonna need a place to stay, and you're gonna need to eat, and you're gonna want to stay warm if it's winter. Food, housing, gas, you'll want to keep those. You're also going to want to keep your 10% going towards investments, because if you're not making enough money, you need to do something with your money to make sure you have enough money. But whatever's at the bottom, after you list everything out by priority, has to go. Just get it out of it. That's the first thing you want to do. You'll also want to ask yourself, what can I get for a lower amount? Okay. And I mentioned this earlier, but like, what can I do to have lower gas bills? Do I need to stop taking such long showers? Do I need to turn the heat off from time to time instead of maybe turn the heat down so it's not up so hot? Can we lower the electricity bill by unplugging some stuff when we're done with it instead of just leaving it plugged in? Because, you know, a lot of TVs, they have that little light on. Yeah, the little red light might be sucking out some electricity. Unplug that thing from time to time. Don't charge your phone at night, because your phone will get up to 100% and it'll keep charging. Charge it during the day, and don't have it charge at night when you're not on it. Turn off some more lights when you're not using that room. You know, the stuff our parents used to tell us when we were kids. Now it's your turn, you might want to try that. We start getting coupons when we go grocery shop. Figure out where we can go to get food for free. Sometimes churches give away bread, they give away eggs, they give away milk, they give away stuff. It'll be like a week before it expires, so you have to eat it quickly, but it's free. So check that out if possible. But ask yourself, what can we do to get things for a lower price? Because you've got like $1,000 or $400 or $200, whatever. Expenses you can't afford. You gotta shrink that down as much as possible. In a lot of areas, you don't always get to pick how much you're gonna spend. Like, for example, let's say you already live in an apartment and you've already signed a lease, and now you're watching this video, you don't get to decide how much you pay in rent. I mean, sure, you can move, but that might be in a couple months. And you could probably negotiate something with your landlord, but they'll probably say no. It's life. You know, maybe you can work something out with your insurance company or switch, but you don't get to decide. Like, it will only be 10% of my income. Like, I mean, you have some authority there, but not much. I could say put it on your credit card, but I don't like that idea because as soon as you put money on your credit card this month, that's another $1,000 that you're gonna have to pay next month on top of all of your normal month-to-month expenses. If you need $4,000 a month in expenses and you only make $3,000 a month, then that's $1,000 worth of expenses that you can't afford. It has to go somewhere. I would say you're gonna have to cut $1,000 of spending. And this might be frivolous spending, it might be prodigal spending, it might be unnecessary spending, but sometimes it can be like actually necessary spending. Like you may actually need to spend the money, but you don't have the money, so you can't spend the money if you're going to be budgeting properly. Yeah, just avoid credit cards. Credit cards are something unique. There's a way to use credit cards, and I'm gonna take a break for a second and explain credit cards to you. When you're using credit cards, only use credit cards for the rewards, okay? Don't really go around using credit cards when you don't have the money to pay for something, okay? If you have the money to pay for something, good. Pay for it with your credit card. You have $500 in your account, and it's budgeted towards whatever you're about to buy, and you have a credit card with like a $6,000 limit, and the credit card also says 2% cash back on all purchases, great. Use the credit card. Get that 2% cash back. Buy the thing because it's within the budget. Use the credit card for the 2% cash back, and then pay off the credit card with the money you have in your bank account. Because you're only using the credit card to get the rewards. That's my recommendation. Only use credit cards for the rewards. Get the 2% cash back, but pay off the credit card. Because that way, you don't have to worry about interest, you don't have to worry about being in debt, you don't have to worry about all that. If you're only using the credit card for the cash back. You do not use the credit card, however, when you do not have the money you need to pay for all your expenses. Because you just don't have it. It's gonna set you back. I already explained this, but don't do it. Then the next thing you wanna do is you wanna go make more money, okay? Anyway, that's how do you do that. For the most part, get skills up here. But again, that's another episode for later. I've already written it out. This one's on budgeting. Before we get distracted here. For after step 3, after you've done the math, you know how much money you have, you know how much money you need, you know when it's due, you know whether or not you have enough money to cover everything, the budget's pretty much complete. And you're pretty much done. At this point, the next thing you want to do is actually follow the budget. I've heard so many people tell me that they don't like budgeting because they feel like budgeting does not work. When in reality, budgeting works just fine. Remember, budgeting is just a plan. That's all it is. It's you sitting down and planning out how you will handle your money. But if you don't follow the plan, it turns out that you get a result you weren't hoping for. You'll plan something out, and then and if you follow the plan, if it was a good plan, if you follow the plan, you'll get the desired result. But if you deviate off your plan, if you deviate off your budget, you'll get a different result that you probably weren't looking for. You don't then get to say budgeting doesn't work for me, because budgeting would have worked just fine if you had followed the budget. Just like saying planning doesn't work. Well, I mean, planning works just fine if you follow the plan. But you can't say planning doesn't work because, well, I've tried planning before, but I didn't follow my plan, so now planning doesn't work for me. No, planning works just for you, just like it works for everybody else. But you actually have to follow the plan for the plan to work. It's like a police officer or someone in the military fighting in battle, right? And the enemy's shooting at them, and they're ducking, and then they're like, dang, guns don't work. And then their combat might be like, well, really, what happened? What happened when you tried to shoot? Oh, no, I didn't use my gun. You didn't use it? No, I didn't use it. Guns don't work for me. What do you mean it don't work for you? Like, well, I mean, I was about to pull it out, but I was like, I don't want to. So I didn't use it, and now guns don't work for me. Like, well, I mean, the gun would have worked just fine if you used it. Same with a budget. If you have a budget, and you follow the budget and you use the budget, it'll work. If you don't, it won't. So you're gonna have to actually stick to your budget. And this is going to take some discipline. You're gonna have to discipline yourself in order to maintain your budget, especially now with interest rates going up and inflation being out the roof. This is where it's going to be very, very difficult to maintain a budget. This isn't like 2020 when they were giving out stimulus checks and we had plenty of money. You could spend money willy-nilly and still have enough money to carry over or cover all of your expenses. This is now where money feels scarce. Even though there's a lot of it out there, it feels like there's not a lot of it because a lot of us don't have access to a lot of it. So it ends up feeling like there's just not enough money to go around. But when it comes time to use your budget, here are some tips. Don't spend any money without checking your budget first, okay? Do your best not to go over your budget when you are spending. And remember, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to be. So when you're about to spend money, whether it's within the budget or without the budget, you need to ask yourself, is this purchase a vote for the type of person I want to be, or is it a vote against the type of person that I want to be? Do I want to be the type of person that sticks to a budget? Do I want to be the type of person who's good at handling money? Do I want to be the type of person that finishes what they started? And does this purchase that I'm about to make vote towards the person I want to be, or is it a vote against the type of person I want to be? Every single action you take is a vote for or a vote against the type of person you want to be. So if you look up one day and you feel like you're not good at managing your money, remember, you voted to be that type of person with every single one of your actions. Nobody forced you to be that way. You chose to be that way. And some people will hear me say this and they won't like it. They'll be like, oh, this guy, he's full of it. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But you specifically, the serious one, the one who's actually paying attention, you know what type of person you want to be. You know that you're serious about this. You are the type of person who finishes what they start. So I know when you do this, when you make a budget, you're going to stick to it. Other folks, they won't, but I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to you. You specifically. I know you're serious, okay? So you will be just fine. Everybody else, well, you know, I guess this video ain't for you. But you got this. You got this. At this point, the next thing that you're gonna wanna do is track your spending, okay? This is probably one of the most important things you can do with your money is to track your spending, okay? On a regular basis. Every time you spend money, every time you get money, track it, okay? You wanna know where your money's going. You wanna know what you're doing with your money. You're gonna wanna write down the date, when you spent money, the amount, how much money you spent, and you're gonna wanna write down what you spent it on. Keep it simple. Keep it concise. Use brevity as much as humanly possible. You don't want it to get overcomplicated because then it'll feel like a chore with you rushing day to day, getting stuff done. You just don't have time to write 6 paragraphs of when you were in the store and you were waiting behind the line at 6:30 p.m. and the lady ahead of you was taking all her time and you bought this and 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 this, despite the fact that you had a coupon and despite the fact that it's cheaper somewhere. Like, just maintain 3 things: the date, the amount, and what you bought. It could be food at Portillo's. Done. And then do the next one. You can give some details, but you want to keep it concise. You want to keep it simple. All right? What this will do is once you're done with the month or the week, you can look at all of this and you can say, wow, I spent about $32 on food for Portillo's, but that was only one meal. And I'm going to be hungry again in like 5 hours. And I spent $144 on groceries, but that was for like 2 weeks. If I had spent $144 at Portillo's, that would have been maybe food for 2 days just for me, but I can feed myself for 2 weeks with $144. With those $32 I spent at Portillo's, that could have been at least another 3 to 4 days of food had I spent that buying groceries. So now, you probably don't even need to budget eating out. You can just be like, you know what, skip eating out. I can get more food for longer by simply going grocery shopping. And then you can get it even more detailed to where it's like, okay, 1 month I went grocery shopping at Sam's Club, but I like the prices at Costco or Walmart better than the prices at Sam's Club. So now, by tracking your spending, you know how much you're spending, and you can begin to rethink where you put your money. All of your money doesn't have to go towards eating out at McDonald's or Burger King, Wendy's. Just get rid of all 3 of those. No McDonald's, no Burger King, no Wendy's. Stop it. You can save more money with grocery shopping. And since we're on the topic of grocery shopping, let's tip. It's better to have a list when you go grocery shopping. Don't just run in there grabbing everything off the shelf. Have a list, have a calculator, and add up everything while you're putting it in your cart, so you know exactly how much money you're about to spend before you get to the cash register. This will save you from any surprises. Also, try and figure out what the taxes are. In your area, it's different from state to state, but try to figure out what the taxes are so you can calculate that in as well. At the end of the week or at the end of the month, Compare your budget to how much you've actually spent. Take your tracking and your budget and put them side by side and look at them. Be like, okay, the plan was to only spend, say, $600 on groceries. In reality, we spent $750. Why did I spend $750 instead of $600? Where am I spending too much money? Can I save money by going to a different store? Do I have access to coupons? Same thing, if you look at the gas bill in the house and you're like, okay, the budget for gas was going to be $130. We spent $140 on gas warming up the house. Okay, how can we keep that low? If you look at your electricity bill, and like the budget for the electricity bill was $34, but it ended up being something closer to $50. Like, okay, well, I mean, are we leaving lights on all night? But once you have tracked your spending and done some budgeting, and you know how much you've actually spent, that will help you recalculate in the future to figure out how much money you really need. You either can cut some spending or recalculate your budget to match reality. But it's going to be very difficult to do that if you're not doing both of these. You want to have a budget and you want to track your spending so you can see what's really going on with your money, and then you can make adjustments as you deem necessary. Now, if you made it to this part of the video, thank you. Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe if you're interested. But again, none of this is financial advice. This is just me on my journey to become a millionaire, sharing what I learned as I learned it. Now, I could go on, but as for now, enough said. Talk to you. Bye-bye. See? That's difficult at all. Oh, wait. There.